Ladies and gentlemen, 49 coming at you another community shoutcast for the OUSA Dota League Season 1. This is game number 2 of Blink up against 2IP. 2IP actually were able to deliver Blink's first defeat so far in the ODR1 with some fantastic play coming out from Mule on the Queen of Pain, as well as on 2 Easy over on the Sand King, and create a lot of space for his team. Also some pretty standard players coming out from Yoda and Wolfcunt, as well as their new addition, Demon Lord Satan, able to get those clutch Shallow Graves off. And joining me for this cast as my co-cast will be Killa, Captain of Horseman of the Ruckus. How are you doing, Jesse?
Dire team ban.
Excellent, mate. Pretty satisfied.
Yeah, this time you'll be able to see the draft instead of eating KFC, so it'll be interesting to see your thoughts on it,
Radiant team ban.
So Blink Dota once again banning out that Nagasarian. They really don't want to play against Nagasarian this time, so I mean, they used to first ban Slark, so now they're banning out Nagasarian. Interesting to see what they choose to do. Instant Ember Spirit ban coming out from 2IP. One of Snow's best heroes, and banned for very good reason. Huge mobility, as well as the fact that even if you lose the mid lane as the Ember Spirit, the fact that you have that split pushing power and the ability to dodge fights with the Remnant means that you could take it to the later stages of the game, and Ember Spirit does output a huge amount of AoE DPS, similar to that Kunkka with that Sleight of Fist.
5 seconds remaining.
So it'll be interesting to see who Blink Dota choose to let through the draft this
Reserve
time.
Blink is first pick. I think they were really hoping that they'd be able to get the Ember Spirit this game.
Yeah, they're actually choosing to respect ban Lycanthrope. So Slark is actually in the pool, but I don't think Blink Dota play Slark at all, so that could prove to be their downfall, especially if 2IP pick it up. But at that same time, Blink Dota, they do like to practice the Bloodseeker as a safe lane farmer. It's one of the ways they choose to counteract Slark if he does happen to go through the initial picking and banning stage. So really fairing the power of Wolfcunt's signature hero. Although, to be fair, I do keep yelling out on stream, his name is Wolfcunt for Christ's sake. Why wouldn't you ban the only wolf hero in Dota 2?
5 seconds remaining.
So they could be picking up the Ancient Apparition, sticking to their roots, going with the tried and true Yoshi hero. As much as he probably hates to play Ancient Apparition every single game, he is a mighty fine AA.
Yeah, he's probably a good pick, especially after losing to a non-pushing team.
Yeah, just with the sheer amount of split push coming out. The fact that AA actually does stop pushes fairly well. If you do get a fast level 2 ultimate up on him, the fact you can throw out those ice blasts on the enemy heroes, especially in the supports, you keep them low. It makes them afraid just because you don't want to fight when you've got that shadow debuff on you. So yeah, Ancient Apparition first pick coming out from Blink. It'll be interesting to see how 2IP choose to counteract this. I don't think they have a Visage player, but maybe Demon Lord Satan can play Visage. So it should be interesting to see what they choose to do. Since the Ancient Apparition is a first pick, it's a very safe hero, it doesn't really give away your draft. Whereas before, when they went with that first pick, Nature's Prophet instantly gave, as well as a Lycanthrope, gave away their draft. They knew from the get-go they want to go for a split push, they want to go for an early push kind of oriented build. Weaver picked up as a carry or the offlaner for 2IP. Weaver does win a lot of 1v1 matchups because he has so much harassment power with the Sakuchi as well as the Gemini attack. But in the trilane, he really excels, just because of the fact that he can get so many free hits off with the Gemini attack and Sakuchi to reposition himself. So if you pick up 2 other very aggressive trilane supports, such as something like a Vengeful Spirit or a Visage, you can go Clash Tribe Try and do very well.
10 seconds remaining.
So it looks like Blink Dota have done their homework since they're banning out 2IP's strongest heroes, the Nagasarian played by Yoda, as well as the Lycanthrope played by Wolfcunt. The issue with Nagasarian is while she is a very greedy support like the Shadow Shaman, unlike the Shadow Shaman, she has more opportunities to get gold and generate EXP through the mirror image as well as the Riptide. Since if you're able to get some good micro going, you send each of your images off to a different camp, use that Riptide while you're at the creep wave, so you have to get a lot of gold that way. If you're a practiced Nagasarian player, such as like Yoda is, you actually can generate enough gold to transition yourself into a pseudo core or a pseudo DPS role. Especially since you go for the Arcane Boots as your first big pickup, so you can sustain the Riptide, get enough levels, pick up something like a Sage, because it gives your images a lot more survivability, or even the Fusel Blade can actually output a fair amount of DPS. So once again, Blink Dota going with the Mirana. It might be a tri-lane Mirana this time, just because you have that Ancient Apparition. So the fact that Blink Dota, they love to run this combination. They'll actually pick up Skywrath Mage as their secondary support hero, because you've got 3 heroes with 600 range, above average movement speed, and that Chilling Touch debuff. So even if Mirana happens to whiff her arrow, you can just beat them down just with right clicks. And when you're against squishy heroes such as the Weaver and the Venomancer, who kind of rely on their spells or rely on their offensive capability in the case of Venomancer to be able to secure kills, you actually can turn around and easily get a fair few kills over on 2IP. So Venomancer pickup, very strong aggressive hero, just because he has one of the best snares at level 1. If you catch a hero out in the Gale, they're pretty much dead. 60% snare, lasts for a very long time, I think 6 seconds at level 1.
Radiant team ban.
Good respect being there on the Dazzle, but I don't really like the Veno pickup. I think he is relatively weak at the moment.
Dire team ban.
What makes you think Venomancer is a weak hero? Because I mean, I guess if 2IPA is choosing to clash try try, he provides a lot of offensive capability with the Gale and the Sting.
Yeah, it's just how he's being run in this recent meta is sort of like a position for
10 seconds
soft
remaining.
support who's not going to get any farm, and it's just gonna, his whole goal is to get his ulti off.
5 seconds remaining.
Right,
So
that's definitely
it's
true.
just not going to be that clutch.
If Venomancer
Reserve
does
time.
get a lot of gold and a lot of EXP, if he gets an Aghanim Scepter and a level 2, level 3 ultimate off, that actually does output a huge amount of DPS. It pretty much forces the enemy team to buy BKBs and their core heroes or else risk them dying. A combo that I never see run but always want to see run is Warlock and Venomancer. Have Warlock maybe as like your offlane 1v1 hero. Get enough gold up, just because Fatal Bonds makes Venomancer's a Poison Nova do fatal damage. So it's the 20% damage coming up from the Fatal Bonds that ticks over whenever they're getting a tick from the Poison Nova actually will kill them. So a huge amount of AoE DPS.
I think what Blink really needs to pick up now is a Centaur War Chief, and that'll be a game.
Yeah, actually, come to think of it, the Moonlight Shadow and the Stampede,
Radiant
with the
team
Ice Blast
ban.
flying halfway across the map, that provides you a massive amount of execution power. Another respect ban. Blink Dota, all their bans have been respect bans. Banning out Mule's Templar Assassin. So maybe they're considering sending him Mirana into the mid lane again, although Snow did have pretty mixed reactions with that last game. Wasn't really able to
10
accomplish all too
seconds
much in that
remaining.
mid lane as that Mirana. Didn't really die to the Queen of Pain, but at the
5
same time
seconds remaining.
was heavily out CS'd. Was 2 under farm by the time the mid game rolled around to create much of an impact.
Radiant team
And the
pick.
Moonlight Shadows were instantly counteracted by Demon Lord Satan, who was very on point with those sentries. So Bane Elemental and Slark banned out from 2IP, just in case if Blink had learned a few new tricks and we were trying to test out that Slark. Bane Elemental, very good ban, especially with the Mirana, since you've got that Sleep into Arrow combination. Very easy to execute spell combination, provides a huge amount of damage, especially with the fact that Mirana's Arrow can provide an extra up to 100 magic damage depending on the distance travel.
10 seconds
So a
remaining.
potential 190 damage nuke at level 1 with a 5-second stun.
5 seconds
Very nasty
remaining.
combination.
Yeah, I suspect Blink's going to be pretty classic here and might even run
Reserve
a
time.
Visage after this pick.
Might even run, sorry, what was that last year?
A Visage?
Oh, Visage, yeah. Visage and Ancient Apparition, you've got the 2 kings of the trilane in one setup. That's a sick, nasty combination. I think TYK were the ones that last pulled it off, and even though they're up against a trilane bristleback, they were able to tear through him as if he was made out of paper. You got the Chilling Touch, the Ice Vortex to amp up the Soul Assumption damage, and Witch Doctor picked up.
Dire team.
2IP are the only team that seemed ballsy enough to go with the Witch Doctor pickup. It was Thundercunt who played them last time, in this grudge match series up against Recursion, and he was able to smack down the Luna with some great plays coming up from him. Oh no, never mind, it was against their series against TYK. And so Witch Doctor is a very strong support hero, however the biggest issue is the fact that Paralyzing Cask is incredibly unreliable. It's because it has such a slow travel time that when you see it fly towards you, you split up, and so
10
if it
seconds
doesn't
remaining.
bounce, it's not that effective. In fact, the bounces are fairly random, but however, if you are able to get a
5
good bounce
seconds
off from Witch
remaining.
Doctor, the fact that you get up to 9 bounces with a level 4 Paralyzing Cask can completely disrupt fights,
Reserve
and the
time.
Death Ward provides a huge amount of DPS, similar to a Crystal Maiden Freezing Field, but a lot more reliable, because you don't have to get up close and personal.
Right, a nice pick.
Radiant team.
Yeah,
pick.
Batrider, I think it's the first time I've seen Batrider picked up in the ODL 1.
Come on, 2IP, think it through. You want an Evanus.
But then that'd have to... Oh, I guess, yeah, if you have a... You could actually have Abaddon go 1v1 against the Batrider, just because the Aphotic Shield purges off all the sticky napalm debuffs.
Yeah, it's just a great pick. It's the only heal that can
Dire
really
team
you out the
pick.
net.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that Miscoil, it's a very underrated ability. It actually provides you a huge amount of healing at level 4, 250 heal every 6 seconds. The only drawback is it damages you for half the amount, but you've got your borrowed time to power through that. Wraith King picked up as their carry, so Wolfcart once again over with the strength carry.
Yeah, Blink really need that Centaur now. Batrider plus a Centaur.
Yeah, that's a sick
10
nasty
seconds
combination, because you got Stampede to give Batrider time to be able to run back out when he's got you
5
trapped in the
seconds.
lasso.
5 seconds remaining.
Although I don't think I've ever actually...
Reserve time.
Yeah, but the issue is they do run a Batrider, if they run a Centaur Warrior though, since they have a Batrider, they'll force them to the mid lane or into the jungle. Since you want an off-lane Centaur Warrior, just because without levels, he really does taper off very quickly. Yeah, so Blink Dota, they're going with the tried and true combination. Skywrath, Mage, Ancient Apparition, and Mirana. Huge amount of damage coming out with the Ancient Seal, the concussive shot with a few arcane bolts, and the fact that you've got 3 heroes with above average movement speed and 600 attack range. That chilling touch will make all 3 of them hurt like hell. Will be interesting to see how effective it is against the Wraith King trilane coming out from 2 IP. Just because once Wraith King hits level 6, he doesn't really care if he dies. Actually, he wants to die since the reincarnate slow. 75% for 3 seconds. Incredibly powerful snare. Will give Weaver all the time in the world to be able to chase people down. Skywrath Mage, also an excellent counter to the Weaver, just because Weaver falls apart to any silencers, especially before he picks up his Lincoln Sphere. And so that Ancient Seal, which Skywrath Mage in that 4-5 position usually maxes out. Very effective way to shut down that Weaver. So it looks like Yoshi will be in the Ancient Apparition, and DDY and the Skywrath Mage, so the duo Korean support combination coming up from Blink Dota also provides a fair amount of roaming potential. Just because you have that chilling touch with 2 heroes 600 range, follow up with the concussive shot, Ancient Seal is right clicking down. Luna banned out, very good ban coming up from 2 IP, fairing the power of a tri-lane Luna, just because you do have to keep in mind, Mirana can't always go into the mid lane, and throwing a Luna on top of this is too much, just because you've got Ancient Seal and Ice Vortex, so 2 ways to amplify magic damage. Follow up the Lucent Beam, chilling touch right clicks,
10 seconds remaining.
Pretty much turns most heroes into paper. And so 2 IP, once again, choosing to wait until the 5th pick before they choose their mid hero. Excellent recognition coming up from them, just because Mule is such a methodical and patient player. He does have a very wide range of heroes. The fact that they could choose to, although Blink Dota will be the counter pick their mid hero this time. So they're banning out Puck. So once again, all of Blink Dota's bans this game have been respect bans to 2 IP, and for very good reason. These are heroes you don't want to be in the receiving end of, just because they're some of their signature heroes. Mule on his Puck, as well as Templar Assassin, able to single-handedly win games on his own. Dazzle in that last game was a Shallow Graves, able to ensure that that tri-lane was able to completely win uncontested, so they weren't able to take a single kill off that tri-lane until much later on. And they're going for a Death Prophet, just because they know that Puck has been banned out. So one of your favorite heroes, King Killer, what are your thoughts?
I actually think 2IP's team's looking pretty...
And we've got a Shadow Fiend picked up by Snow. Second game we've seen Shadow Fiend picked up. Last time was played by Vito Corleone, standard for Felfie and friends. He played beyond Yafes-like in that game. Wolfcunt doing his pretty signature smack talk. I'm assuming the 2 supports will actually be rotating to the mid lane just to buy Shadow Fiend space. This is one of the things I've noticed Felfie and friends do when they had Vito Corleone play Shadow Fiend mid. The 2 support players actually rotated over here so that Dumbledy actually could see them. So he knew that he couldn't go into the mid lane without being killed, so that he was forced to hang back. That means Shadow Fiend was able to get an entire wave worth of CS, so he had enough damage from his Necromastery then to be able to win the lane. So it's very rare to see Dumbledy get severely outlaned the way he did. But one of the ways to ensure that your Shadow Fiend... Oh, go on.
What 2IP should be doing this game is running Weaver in the mid lane.
Weaver in the mid lane? Huh.
Yeah, rape Shadow Fiend, and then they can do a defensive try to match that.
30 seconds to battle.
All easy to kill heroes.
That's true, but I guess the reason why I've never seen Weaver as a mid lane hero is the fact that the lane is so short that you can't utilize Sakuchi to its full extent. Just because over in the long lane or in the off lane, you can run through them and then get a few right clicks off the Sakuchi since they have to run past you before they get to the tower. But in the mid lane, you can't really do that just because the tower is so close. But nonetheless, I think Death Prophet should pretty easily beat the Shadow Fiend mid, unless if some support rotations happen from Blink, just because of the fact that you've got the Crypt Swarm spam, as well as the fact that Death Prophet actually has far superior base damage than Snow. It looks like Snow's actually screwed up his creep block. So Mule, once again, able to control the equilibrium, gives him a huge advantage. Weaver picks up an invisibility rune, so that means... Oh no, he's 1v1 up against the Bat Rider, so they're clashing try-v-try. So Weaver against the Bat Rider. I think Weaver actually has a fairly good advantage, just because you can't Sakuchi away. Although you have to keep in mind, if Bat Rider is onto it, and is able to keep him down with the sticky napalms and use the flame break to put him in a bad situation. Too easy going in, throws out the paralyzing cast. Snow called out at level 1. Where's that Gale? Demon Lord Zayden gonna tank a few tower shots, but Snow being driven away. Gale actually catches him. Great Gale coming up from Demon Lord Zayden, and Snow's gonna be taking the fall. While that's happening, Wolfcunt hugging the tower. He knows the supports aren't there, so he's just gonna be playing it safe. And Mule with that first blood, 100 gold away from her bottle. 2 IP taking a great start up against Team Blink, utilizing the fact that Shadow Fiend at level 1, he's worse than the range creep. He's got nothing if he's called out position. He moves slower than a range creep, and he hits actually about the same. So until he gets his souls up, until he gets a few points up in raise, he really can't do anything. But while that's happening, they have had to leave him alone, so he hasn't gotten as much CS as he would like. But that being said, he still has gotten some. Very surprising. So he's picked up his level 2. He's going for his standard build, which is to max out that crit. He's got that magic wand, so he's going to be able to use that to sustain himself in the lane. Magic wand's a critical pickup on Wraith King, just because you've got 2 spells, well, 2 abilities that use mana. Your Hellfire Blast are 140 at all levels, and you reincarnate, which is exactly the same. So you always want to have enough mana for one or the other. So having that magic stick gives you that burst of mana, which you can use to throw out that extra Wraithfire Blast. Usually can mean the difference between a kill and not a kill. Since after all, you've got one ability, you want to make sure you can always throw it out whenever you can. Yoda playing very safely over in the bottom lane. Would like to see him pick up a magic stick. Yeah, he's already got one, so he's going to use that to be able to ensure that Zyki can't go on him, since every time he throws out that sticky napalm, he's going to be able to out-CS him. Actually choosing to max out Geminate attack, so he's got 2 points up in that. I've seen this a lot with offlane Weavers in the 1v1 situation. I think I saw Ghoulie doing it when he was going 1v1 up against a Clockwork. I suppose the rationale for that, especially when you're up against a Clockwork, he's going to rely on trapping in the cogs. You can actually turn around and man fight him. Aggressive ward placed by 2 IP. So already Blink, they're on the back foot, they're playing scared just because they know that if they get called out, Witch Doctor actually hits very hard for a ranged hero. And Skeleton King, with that Hellfire Blast, as well as the Gale following up, since Hellfire Blast also has a 20% snap after it wears off, if they catch you out with that combination, you're dead. Mule having an absolute ball of a time. Although Snow has been keeping up in terms of CS, despite his death. He's been utilizing those raises. He's got 12 souls now, so he is right-clicking fairly hard, but Mule doing what Death Prophet does best in the mid lane. You throw in a few right-clicks, you follow up the Crypt Swarm, keeps them low, keeps them too afraid to be able to initiate on you. And you're able to win the mid lane that way. Similar to a Pugna with the Nether Blast, but with Death Prophet, Crypt Swarm is a lot easier to use to hit the hero as well as the Creep Wave. Since Nether Blast is a lot more obvious since it has such a small range. Wolfguard getting a lot of space. Arrow flies out from Flash, scouts out, actually catches out easy, he eats a concussive shot. But Gale catches on 1. Oh, never mind, catches on 2. Yoshi's also caught by it. Paralyzing cast, bouncing back and forth between DD1 and Yoshi. And it's able to save easy. Great recognition coming out from Demon Lord Satan. Able to save 2 Easy's life, who could have taken the fall there with that Chilling Touch being popped. The right clicks coming out from Team Blink. But once again, looks like the case of Blink Dota's lack of reliable CC could actually be their downfall. Against less coordinated teams, they were able to pull it off very successfully just because they could rely on superior positioning by their players. But 2IP, they've been very on point with the positioning so far. Their support players are always hanging around to be able to support the other one, to be able to back the other one up if they get caught in a bad situation. And Snow looks like he's going to grab that regeneration rune. But in the mid lane, Mule, once again, beating him. Very underrated mid lane player from the ODL 1. I have noticed he's incredibly methodical and very patient. A lot of mid players tend to be a lot more impulsive, and that tends to be their drawback. Over in the top lane, looks like we've got some engagement. Malediction over on Yoshi. Arrow pops over an easy though, so he's going to be trading 1 for 1. But Yoshi, he's going to be taking it forward. That Maledict was a few more right clicks. Actually, Demon Lord Satan's caught in a bad position as well, but Wolfgun's hanging around. They're going to throw out that Wraithfire Blast. Never mind, he's holding on to it. So 1 for 1 trade. Flash hanging around the back end. He's forced to leap out from that. He didn't want to duke it out with the Wraith King, especially with the points up in Mortal Strike that he has. If he does crit, he's going to crit a hell of a lot. Especially on the 3 squishy heroes over on Team Blink. So you have to keep in mind the biggest drawback of Ancient Apparition as well as the Skywrath Mage is they have got very low armor. And so if they do get caught out of position and right click down by Wraith King, they will take a knee very quickly. Zyki's actually been completely beaten 1v1 by Yoda. Looks like over in the top lane some action's happening. Wolfcunt's frozen in the cold feet. But Malediction over in Flash, so he's forced out. Arrow misses. Wolfcunt selving up, hanging back, throws out Hellfire Blast over DDY. He's actually called out position now. Where's that Gale? Never mind, doesn't have enough mana, but with a few right clicks, it might actually be able to bring him down. 1 more. And there we go. They're able to get that kill. The fact that the supports have boots over on 2IP and the fact that the Blink supports don't is a huge advantage over for 2IP. It looks like this tri-lane's completely lost for Blink now. And considering the fact that mid lane isn't going to crash hot, 2IP taking a very strong early lead up against Blink. And I guess
the real winner out of the laning phase is the Weaver.
Yeah, Weaver, 28 CS. Maxing out that Gemini attack is giving us so much laning power. He's got only 1 point up in Sakuchi. This is the only time in Dota 2 I've ever seen a Weaver with 1 point up in Sakuchi doing this well. Usually in pubs you see players do it, and then I wind up flaming them saying, what the hell are you doing? But Yoda using the Force as well as that Gemini attack. Zyki's having a very tough time. The issue as well with the reliance on the Mirana pickup, Mirana actually chose to max out Error. Not too sure why he chose to do this, just because of the fact that, especially in a try-on-try situation, maxing out that Starstorm provides a huge amount of AoE damage. Whiffs that Error, Demon Lord saying cutting a lot of hits. Easy turns around, saying this is too easy for me, bounces the cast back with that Malediction, might actually get a kill over on Yoshi. But will most likely be trading his life. Never mind, he overextends, takes the fall. Wolf Cunt, he's out for blood, but he doesn't have enough mana for that stun.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Swarm comes out from Yoda. Yoda actually might be able to get a kill with that Swarm. If they're able to right-click it down, that Beetle, and wow. Miscommunication coming out from Blink that aren't able to bring it down in time.
Radiant should really do something about that.
Mule's also over in the top lane, so all 5 players from 2 IP. Yeah, Exorcism. Not enough mana for him. We'll be able to get enough with the bottle charges. And we'll phase boots up as well. You do not want to fight this in the top lane. You've got 2 heroes completely caught behind enemy lines. Flash, he's running up, but Wolfcunt as well as Too Easy are hanging around. Yoda's chasing him down with those gem attacks, and that paralyzing cast might actually buy him enough time. Flash is going to be taking a fall with one more right click, and the Beetle actually brings him down once again. While that's happening, Zyki TP top, takes a fall. Mule just man-fighting with the Exorcism, saying, come at me, bro, I'm the Exorcist. Still alive, able to de-aggro, never mind, the range creep seals the deal. So it looks like in terms of team impact, that range creep doing a lot of work for Team Blink. But while that's happening, Snow, great recognition coming out from him. He knows he can't rotate to the top lane without dying, so he just takes the mid lane tower. So he's creating space for his team that way. He actually can choose to go for a Hand of Midas just because he does have a lot of gold. Hand of Midas and Shadow Fiend is a pretty good pickup just because he can flash farm like no one else. And if they do decide to take it into the late game, since Wraith King does taper off as a late game hero, and so does the Death Prophet, Weaver scale's okay, but it's entirely dependent on his farm. Blink actually can choose to take this into the later stages of the game, so their late game lineup is superior to 2IP. And since they know that the early game, they've lost their laning stage for all 3 lanes from the look of it, Snow is able to catch up a lot of CS now. Yeah, he's gone for Hand of Money, so he's going for the Arteezy build. So he's smacking down some creeps. Would like to see the supports actually stacking the camps, especially with a Shadow Fiend pickup. He's such a risky hero to pick up, although he has become substantially less risky with all the buffs he's received. You do want to see the supports doing everything they can to ensure he gets as much GPM as possible. And so usually you see the support stacking the camps for him, so he can just walk out whenever he pushes out the mid creep wave, walks in, raises down the stacked camps, and goes back into the mid lane.
I feel sad for them.
Actually, looks like... Never mind.
I think he's going to have to rotate into a race car build.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things I do like to see on the Wraith King is to phase drums into even an S and Y. Great pickups on the Wraith King. Since he has a huge amount of damage coming out from his stun as well as his Mortal Strike, so you just want the mobility to be able to constantly get up in people's faces without whacking them down.
Has seen better days.
Yoda completely unpunished despite choosing to max out Gemini attack in the early stages of the game. He's already got his ultimate orb up. He's incredibly farmed. 3-0, getting 2 kills with the Swarm. Arrow actually catches over on Demon Lord Satan. Switch targets since Yoda has the time lapse. Demon Lord Satan might be taking a fall. Yeah, Flash is able to seal the deal. Caught him in the Malediction though, forced to pop the Moonlight Shadow. Mule might actually be, if he lands a Crypt Swarm, oh, never mind, he misses. If he was able to catch that, the Malediction would have been enough to kill him. But Flash lives to fight another day.
Yeah, we're about to see a big pickup for Zyki. Might actually see some engages and maybe some momentum built up on Blink.
Yeah, he's doing very good recognition coming out from him. He's taking away the neutrals over from the Radiant side because he recognizes that all the support players are top. And it's just Wolfcunt, and Wolfie can't really contest him in the jungle. So once he picks up his Blink Dagger, we'll see some great engagements coming out from Batrow. Zyki has a lot of his team's weight on his shoulders, since he has to get these pickups and create space for his team. Otherwise, Shadow Fiend won't really be all that effective until he gets enough farm. Shadow Fiend probably going to be forced to going for a BKB as his first big item. This means having such a terrible start. He's gone Treads first. So Treads into BKB gives him a lot of defensive capability. And to keep in mind, with maxed out souls on his Necromastery, Shadow Fiend hits like an absolute monster truck. So BKB actually is a pretty good offensive pickup on him as well. So it gives him 10 seconds for him to go to Pound Town and the rest of your team. With the raises and with the right clicks, he provides so much offense they can usually bring people down before they could even react. Got the 2-man smoke rotation coming up from Too Easy as well as Mule. Demon Lord Satan. Mule's is rotating back to the mid lane. He's going to get his farm where he can. Looks like he's going for the Yule Scepter build with that Voidstone pickup. At least I'd like to hope it's a Yule Scepter pickup. Demon Lord 10 actually choosing to go for a second point in the Poison Sting. That's to ensure that it does fatal damage once you pick up his ult. Usually like to see Venomancer players either max out the Venomous Wards or the Poison Stings, and those two actually provide you more consistent DPS than maxing out the Gale. Witch Doctor choosing to max out Malediction second, so no point over in the Voodoo Restoration. DDY might actually be called out of position here if he's spotted out by 2 easy. He actually spots him out, pings fly immediately, and the 2 back off, since they know that there are 4 heroes over in the Dire Jungle. They're all holding hands, because Blink know that they're on the back foot right now, so they gotta play it safe. 1,000 gold lead in favor of the Radiant side, just due to all the kills that they've received. But in terms of EXP, Blink actually asked them to pull it back. This is just due to the fact that the support's actually getting a lot of solo EXP. Yoshi over in the top lane, he's gonna sit there by that creep wave until he hits level 6, since that Ice Blast, especially in conjunction with the Flaming Lasso, with a huge amount of momentum in their favor. And Snow hanging back, just able to get what farm he can with the razors.
I think it's time for Batrider to do a lash on mid.
Yeah, just because of the fact that Blink Dota have vastly superior initiation. But if they don't take advantage of their initiation power right now, when they're a bit behind, and they're able to take these pick-off kills on key heroes such as the Death Prophet, it's going to be very difficult, just because Wraith King, he can face tank any initiation you throw at him. In fact, he probably wants you to initiate on him, since he's got that Reincarnate. So he knows that if he dies, it's actually more beneficial. And then, there we go, there's that Blink Lasso. Ancient Apparition Ice Blast is going to catch on 3. Requiem of Souls catches out Mion, pops him. 4 heroes rotating to the mid lane. 2 easy fleeing for his life. Where's an arrow coming out from Flash? Never mind, he holds onto the arrow. And Yoshi picks up Arcane Boots as well.
Run, little bottom tower, run.
So Yoshi holding on to his team right now. 3 for 3. With that maxed out Chilling Touch, it's going to be happening very soon. Weaver almost has his Lincoln Sphere. 200 gold off. That arrow lands. Actually, arrow catches him in the face. If he had a double star soul, that might be enough. There's that Ancient Seal. Yoda takes a fall. Very unfortunate for him. Feeds a spree. Yeah, great arrow coming out from Flash. Was questioning his skill build order of maxing on that arrow, but there you go. He's making it work. Looks like he's going Phase Drum. Probably will be going for a Yasha or Maelstrom as his next big pickup after that. Just because they both provide a great boost to your mid-game DPS. Wolfcart, he's been sitting in the bot lane. Looks like he's going for Phase Boot, so he's going for that race car build. Very good pickup on him, so that means he can just man-fight people down. With that Reincarnate, he actually could turn around and kill Snow. Snow overextending with no rotation coming in. Never mind, we've got some rotation coming in. Reincarnate pops, Wolfcart's going to respawn. Turn around, throw another Wraithfire Blast. Yoshi's there to try to body gun. Pops that Cold Feet as well as that Ice Blast. Actually drives off Wolfcart. Gale flies out, catches Snow. DDY comes in. Ancient Apparition actually kills Wraith King with that E-Rays coming out from Snow. So great recognition coming out from him. And Wolfcart getting a little bit too cheeky. Feeds his level 1 Reincarnate as well as his life. So the call's over on 2 IP. Bit misplays coming out from them. Yoda's almost picked up his Lincoln Sphere, so that'll make him nigh unkillable, since it means he could tank the Ancient Seal. Unless the DDY burns it with the Arcane Bolt first.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. It has no arms to defend itself.
That could come back to
Yeah, Yoda's actually called out. He actually instantly pops. That's the initiation power coming up from Blink with the Batrider with the Blink Zagger up on him. And 2 IP, yeah, you're right. The supports are being starved for gold now. So that could actually turn to bite them. Venomancer's level 4. 2 Easy's level 5. They really need their ultimates up. You saw the power of the Ice Blast in the last 2 engagements. They're able to pick off that Wraith King. So we'd like to see the supports rotating over, getting some like solo EXP. Because right now they need their ultimates if they want to fight off. Especially when you consider the fact that Blink Dota are always going to be initiating on them. With the Batrider Blink, Death Prophet able to push down the tier 1 mid. So great trade. Has enough gold to finish his Yule Scepter, or could be choosing to go for Bloodstone. I guess since Yule's had such a good start, Bloodstone wouldn't be the worst pickup in the world. Usually do prefer the Yule Scepter because it gives you a lot of earlier mid-game presence, since you can Cyclone yourself, especially if you get caught with the Ancient Seal. Because the Cyclone does purge off any debuffs on you.
Great way to counter a Skywrath, especially when you see his ulti coming out. Boom.
Yeah, definitely. Skywrath, so he's choosing to max out Concussive Shot second. Kind of interesting. Usually you see them max out the Arcane Bolt. Arrow almost hits too easy, but that creep wave tanks it.
No.
Flash, he's got his drum now. So decent amount of gold up on him. And yeah, these supports have been holding hands for a lot of time, but that's starting to impact their effectiveness just because they do need their level 6. Yule's have to picked up by Mule. And it looks like 2 Easy's the one going to be building that mechanism. Whereas over on Team Blink, I think Yoshi's the one going for it over in the AA. No, he's on ward duty, DDY. Yeah, they're both pretty under farm. Mule once again goes over on Mule called out with the Batrider lasso. Cyclone keeping him alive from that Ice Blast. Great recognition. Throws out that silence. Wraith Fire Blast from Wolfguard. He doesn't have his ultimate, but he still wants to play. Zyki's being called out.
Not gonna kill him, I don't think.
Flame Break, you gotta keep in mind the Wolfguard is very low right now. He doesn't have his ultimate. Runs back. Aaron misses but splits them off. Exorcism popped by Mule with that regeneration rune. She's back into the party. She's going to take that tier 1 over in the bot lane. While it's happening, Yoda chasing down Snow. Snow is going to be TPing out. Yoda almost gets the kill with that double damage rune.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Snow, he's about halfway to his BKB now. Almost has it. It's going to be a huge pickup for him. Massive amount of momentum, especially with that blink initiation. Yoda not too impressed with the fact that he was able to live through that. And Medallion of Courage picked up by 2 easy. Very interesting build. Actually a pretty good pickup on him. Just because Witch Doctor hits like a truck, you can use it while you're using your Death Ward, so it increases the physical DPS. And it means that with the Swarm, as well as Medallion of Courage, you could output a huge amount of damage on whatever hero you tend to be focus firing. Since you've got a lot of forms of physical DPS, you've got the Exorcism Spirits, you've got Wolfcunt able to go straight up ham on people, you've got Yoda over on the Weaver, could deal a surprising amount of physical DPS with the Geminate attack. Actually a pretty good pickup. I would have preferred to see the Mechanism up on him, just because you really need a mech right now, especially against the sheer amount of magic damage coming out from Team Blink, and the fact that they're always going to be initiating on you with that Batrider. But you saw that power that Yule Scepter.
This is a pretty good effort.
Yeah, definitely a really good effort from him. Wraith King picked up his Armlet Medallion, so he's finished his core. He's got Boots, Armlet, and a Midas, so that gives him all the attack speed he would have gotten from Treads. His Reincarnate's almost off cooldown. Actually chose to skill a second point up over his aura instead of his Reincarnate. I guess he recognized the fact that since his ultimate wasn't off cooldown,
and I don't mean in love.
he needed another point over. Having an extra point in the aura would be more effective since he's going to hit level 12 with the Midas up before his ultimate's off cooldown again. So not bad recognition coming up from here. A lot of Enigma players as well. Actually, oh, never mind. The internet's having a bit of issues on my end. Quick pause coming up from Yoshi, so it looks like he's not the only one. Dota 2 servers might actually be spazzing out. Yeah. You still there, King Killer?
Yeah,
bro. Okay. So it's a similar thing to a lot of what Enigma players like to do. So they only get 1 point in their ult, and they choose not to scale it until later on in the game when they've maxed out their other abilities, just because the black hole duration is 4 seconds at all levels. So similar kind of philosophy behind that, with the not scaling up the Reincarnate. Now that he's picked up, that's off cooldown, he's going to want to get another point in it, since it does reduce the cooldown by 100 seconds. So at level 3, 60-second cooldown over in Reincarnate. It means every single fight he's going to have. You're going to have to kill him twice, since you've got nowhere to burn off his mana pool. Unless if your Shadow Fiend decides to go for a Diffusal Blade or something silly. It looks like Snow has finished his BKB. So huge amount of GPM up on him. Even though he did feed First Blood, he's been hanging back, getting as much farm as he can. He's leading the CS scoreboards. So while the 3 cores from 2IP are significantly more farmed than their counterparts over in Team Blink, the fact that the supports aren't as farmed could prove to be a detrimental factor, just because you need the supports to do a lot of work in these fights, when you consider the fact that Batrider will always be the jump on Mule. Mule will be interesting to see what item he chooses to go for. I actually would like to see something like maybe a BKB up on him, just to mitigate all the magic damage coming out from Blink, since their only physical DPSer right now is the Shadow Fiend. Mirana doesn't actually deal all too much physical damage until she picks up one more item. So being able to mitigate the Ice Blast as well as the Requiem of Souls can be a huge factor. Yoda probably going for that Desolator. Just because Weaver, you want to
see the standard Bloodstone if no one else is getting mech on the Radiant.
Yeah, Bloodstone does provide that heal, so it's something to keep in mind, especially if you consider the fact that they're always initiating on the Death Prophet. So Bloodstone actually could be a very good pickup. Wolfguard instantly rotates top. He wants to scare away Snow. Snow wisely backing away, so he knows that without the tower over in the top lane, without the tier 1, the supports can't rotate in time. So if he gets called out of position, he might actually take a fall, or at the very least be forced to pop his BKB. 4-man smoke rotation and Snow TPing bot. The 10-second BKB, as well as that Blink and Lasso up on Batrider. They're out for blood. He almost has his 4-star, so that gives you that Skyhook combination. Blink, Lasso, 4-stuff yourself out. If you have another support hero with the 4-stuff, it just gets that much more powerful. Mule looks like he's going to be the one that's going to be called out of position. DDY, smoke breaks on him. Mule wisely backing away. Some Spider-Man senses coming up from him. Yoda hanging around the bottom lane. He might be going toe-to-toe up with Snow. There's just the 2 of them. Wow, great recognition. Yeah, coming out from 2IP. They're able to completely avoid that smoke gank, so they're wasting the time of 4 heroes over in Team Blink. And when your net worth is behind, too easy to actually get called out of position. What's that Blink Lasso? Blink Lasso. Gale actually whips Demon Lord Saint's gonna run up and try to get that Nova. Arrow flies up, completely misses everything. Too Easy's gonna be taken for, but Exorcism pops by Mule. He's out for blood. Silence and Moonlight Shadow. And 2IP decide to back away. That's a great amount of space created. They wasted the Death Prophet Exorcism. It's one of her biggest weaknesses as a hero. When her Exorcism's off cooldown, she doesn't really do as much DPS as she does when the spirits are up. So it completely cuts her teamfight presence in half. Yoda, during all that, is just able to get some CS. He's probably going to finish his treads next before he goes for his Desolator. Just because he wants the extra stats, especially when you're considering the amount of magical damage coming out from the Dire side.
Pretty keen to see the Shadow Fiend get involved in a fight now that he's got his Crystallis.
Oh god, he's picked up a Chrysalis as well. Yeah, so Snow being able to get a huge amount of farm. He died once, but he's able to recover very nicely. He picked up like an 8-minute Midas. Despite the fact the supports didn't stack camps for him, he's been funding his own gold. Zyki, he's picked up his 4-staff now. So Team Blink, they've got some very critical pickups up on them. Especially with the fact that Snow is level 16, so he's got level 3 Requiem, and he's got maxed out Presence of the Dark Lord.
Oh, that's not good for the Radiant.
So the fact that the support's over on the Radiant side, as well as the fact that Wraith King actually has pretty low armor since he's a strength hero. Presence of the Dark Lord does a lot of work. Wraith King looks like he's going for a Basher as the next big item, so he doesn't want no drums, he's got phase, and that's all the mobility he needs. He's going for that straight up hard carry build, recognizing that most likely the game's going to be going late, and that Blink actually have the superior late game lineup, so they're actually going to be pretty careful with this. Death Prophet, Mule's just been sitting on his gold, he's going to pick up another haste rune. So with Exorcism up in about 15 seconds, he can create a huge amount of space, considering the fact that Ice Blast was actually whipped. So Blink don't want to go for the engagements while the Ice Blast is off cooldown. It's on cooldown just because they need that burst damage to bring people down. They're actually going for that harder Tarask.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess Mule recognizes that he's going to be the one that's going to be initiated upon 9 times out of 10. And so if he can't go down, he's going to be the pop his Exorcism, pop the Yule Scepter to keep himself alive. Wolfgun can run up and just straight up start beating on people, and Yoda can hang around the backhand, darting in and out. Looks like he's just flicking on Naked Boots for now. Choosing to skill up.
King is going to need a AC after that.
Yeah, AC will make him hurt like hell, especially since it'll mitigate the negative armor coming up from Presence of the Dark Lord.
It doesn't look good.
Mule just straight up running in front. Uses a Cyclone, very cheeky Cyclone of Yoshi. I don't really hope to accomplish with that. I guess he wanted to prevent him from throwing out that Ice Blast just because the heroes are clumped up. Ice Blast, where is the Ice Blast coming out from Yoshi? Actually, it's on cooldown still. So Wolfgun's taking damage, and while that's happening, Snow in the bottom lane going for that trade. Good recognition coming out from him. Chilling Touch being popped by Yoshi. Over on the other two heroes in case any defenders. But Snow's going to be able to trade tier 2 top for tier 2 bot, unless they decide to all TP back now. Cranium Basher picked up by Wraith King. He's going to have that fly out to him on the courier. Very good pickup on Wraith King. So it gives him another form of lockdown. Since Wraith Fire Blast has an 8-second cooldown, so having the Cranium Basher on top of that means that you can just lock people in place and beat them down. He hits very hard with that Mortal Strike. Looks like we're going to have a reconnection coming out from Too Easy. He was having a few internet difficulties. Going to do a quick golden EXP check. Well, nothing's happening at the moment. 5,000 EXP in favor of Blink. And looks like only a 600 gold lead in favor of the Radiant side. So that EXP lead is very significant. When your support has higher level than the enemy team supports, that means you're going to get your ultimates up faster. Ancient Apparition has a mechanism up. No mech picked up by 2IP yet. No one's even looked like he's building towards it. Venomancer is sitting on Arcane Boots. I would like to see the mech actually picked up on Venomancer just because it makes him a lot more difficult to bring down these fights. So it makes it easier for him to get his ultimate off. You're considering a level 9 Ancient Apparition to a level 7 Venomancer.
The mech for pushing as well.
Yeah, definitely.
They're having to drop out too early because, you know, Wraith King's killing himself with an armlet, taking some hits, and just have to fall back. Since
in a vacuum, when you activate the Armlet Madigian, you've got about 13 seconds before the degen starts to hurt you, but when you're taking damage on top of that, timing window drops rapidly. So that's why Armlet Madigian's usually seen picked up on heroes such as Lifestealer, who has Feast, as well as Open Wounds to sustain himself, and the Infest if things get really bad. Wraith King's got his Aura, but if he gets kited around, which he might be just because of the fact that the support heroes actually move fairly quickly, Skywrath manages building towards a 4-star. Batrider already has one, so they're just going to treat him the same way they treat Nikes. Kite him around, wait for his BKB to wear off, or in this case his ultimate, and then just beat him down with that. But with that recent buff to Wraith King's Reincarnate, a 75% snare is very significant. So, actually the armlet might actually be good in this case, because he can run up, face tank all their spells, Yeah, like, you see Wolfcut right now. He's playing straight up balls to the wall. He 2 shots DDY. He dies without reincarnate, snaring up Yoshi as well as Flash. He's back in the fight. Zyki goes in for that initiation. BKB Requiem over at Wolfcut, who drops instantly. They're able to get 3 for that in exchange for 1. Easy takes another fall. Great defensive play coming up from Blink, because they're able to take apart 2IP, utilizing the Superior EXP as well as the Blink initiation they had available. Baited out the reincarnate. Then it went right in and cleaned up. Looks like Venomancer must have died to the Requiem. Yeah, the Requiem as well as the Ice Blast was able to instantly kill Venomancer, so he wasn't even able to get his never mind, he got his ultimate off, but I think he only caught 1 or 2. Mule, bit too slow to react. The issue with Death Prophet is she doesn't provide a huge amount of burst DPS, and she relies on getting up close and personal, so the spirits can swoop in and out. And so once your heroes are tanky enough to survive more than one, about 2 or 3 Crypt Swarms, she doesn't provide that instant jump damage that the Dire side have, especially with that Ancient Apparition Ice Blast on top of the Requiem of Souls. Wraith King just melted in that. He might even choose to go for a BKB.
Oh, that's not good for the Radiant.
Just to help mitigate all that damage. Yoda wasn't able to accomplish all too much in that fight either, since similar to the Death Prophet, they're heroes that rely on long drawn out fights to be able to deal that damage.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Yeah, bit of a misplay. But might be able to catch out the courier when attack flies out. Never mind. Daedalus picked up on Snow. So he's hitting like an absolute monster truck with a chilling touch. And with that Moonlight Shadow, they're actually turning around. So it looks like he's playing that 1 position role this game since Flash. Yeah, there's a sentry there. Too easy. Throws out Cast, gets 2. Snow just duking it out with Wolfcut. Wolfcut's ultimate's on cooldown. Snow actually gets a bit too far. Underestimating the power of that Death Ward. And Yoda's able to seal the deal. Kills him off in the back end. However, the Requiem, the Suicide Requiem coming out from Shadow Fiend actually kills off Wraith King. Flash TPing the hell out of there. Mule chasing down Yoshi. He's going to wait until he wears off that silence. Throws out that Crypt Swarm and gets that kill. Yoda uses the Force, gets 2 kills in the back of that fight. Back and forth action happening. Too easy. Really able to turn that fight around. Snow really underestimated the power of that Death Ward. Paid for it with his life. Was able to get a cheeky return kill with the Suicide Requiem catching out Wraith King. But Wraith King's almost 16 now, so once he gets that level 3 ultimate, he'll have Reincarnate up every single fight. Flash, able to pick up his Daedalus, not his Daedalus, his Desolator. Very good DPS pickup on him, especially since you have presence of the Dark Lord. One of the issues of Shadow Fiend, though, as a carry hero, is the later the game goes, is the fact that if you choose to buy back, you're buying back with half soul. So if you have Requiem off cooldown, you can't really use Requiem in that fight with half soul, since it does very low damage. So it's one of the things you have to keep in mind, is if you're about to die Shadow Fiend, make sure to get your Requiem off, since that way if you buy back, it's not as big a deal. As well as the fact that Requiem actually reduces physical DPS by 40%. Too easy. Actually looks like he's lagging into their base. Called out with a concussive shot, as well as the Arcane Bolt flying out from DDY. With that Ancient Seal as well as the ultimate, it could actually get a kill on him. Hopefully Too Easy will be to juke it out. We'll see what he does.
Rider's gonna get cocky here.
Yeah, Zyki's hanging, waiting in the rings. He's almost got his BKB up on him. So the BKB's up on the cores of Blink, and they provide a huge amount of DPS mitigation. Leap in, yeah, Ancient Seal, and he takes a fall. Too easy, bit unfortunate. Mule fleeing for his life with the Witchcraft and the Yule Scepter, as well as the Phase. He should be fine. Death Prophet level 14 as well. Very under-leveled considering how well of a start he has. I guess the fact that he's been grouping up and fighting in these huge engagements where EXP's been shared. As well as Yoda, no hero over on 2IP are level 16 yet, whereas over on Blink, Snow's level 16. Mirana's actually pretty under-leveled as well. Actually, it just looks like Snow's the only one that's above level 16, just because he's been getting so much solo EXP on his own. Walking around the jungle, smacking creeps. Like Lord Voldemort, he's been biding his time, waiting until he gets stronger, collecting souls. Now he's got that presence of the Dark Lord maxed out, and with that Desolator and the Daedalus, if Mirana and Shadow Fiend focus fire a single target, such as the Wraith King, they could drop him very quickly. Wraith King looks like he's going either for a BKB or a Desolator. Would prefer to see an... Yeah, BKB would really help him out in these fights, and then you can build towards an AC. Just goes on strength. Yeah, and so having a Desolator on Weaver is going to be a great pickup. You have to keep in mind as well, Wraith King works well with other carries, because the fact that his aura now works on ranged heroes as well. And so 30% lifesteal aura on Weaver, who hits very hard, actually is quite a big deal. Just because it means he can man fight or Flash or with Snow. Weaver's usually a hero that wants to run in, get a few free hits in with the Sakuchin gem and attack, then run back out. Death Prophet just picked up harder to ask. So very difficult to bring down these fights, but it's not the issue of survivability that's the factor for 2IP right now. It's the fact they don't have initiation, the fact that Shadow Fiend does so much damage, they have to kill him as soon as possible before he just one-shots their entire team. With that Daedalus picked up, Shadow Fiend could go for something like a Butterfly now as the next big item. So that'd help him out a lot against the two big right clickers coming up from 2IP, and the evasion works on the Exorcism Ghost. Concussive Shot flies out, catches Demon Lord Satan, but he's able to back out. He might actually be called out, because he turns around, gets a Gale on 2. Exorcism popped, Ancient Seal as well as the ultimate. Mystic Flare popping, Mule's caught up, being dragged up. Pops his Yule's able to use it to dodge the ultimate coming out. Wolfcon takes a fall, but reincarnating, I'll be right back. Death Ward doing as much damage as humanly possible. Actually, Snow's copying a lot of damage on the back of that. He might be taking a fall. Wolfcon kills him in the back end. Flash able to get a triple kill. So with that, Desolator dealing a lot of damage. Demon Lord Satan gets a kill with his wards. Zyki able to juke him out and go for that blink. Red Fire Blast catches him out though. Force stops himself forward to guide himself a bit of time. But with Yoda hanging around, he's going to be taking fall. There's no way he should be getting out of that. And Wraith King just smacks him now with that crit. So it looks like a 4-for-2 trade. Yeah, the fact that Snow walked in, tanking the Death Ward the entire time, too easy, has been absolutely on point with his Death Wards. Really been showing off the power of Witch Doctor. Wraith King was able to finish his BKB off the back of all that gold, and his Reincarnate's off cooldown now, so he could choose to suicide their base if he wants to. Flash, he's hanging around with the leap. He was able to reposition himself and kill off heroes in the backline. Was able to get 3 kills in that, so it's a 3-for-4 trade. But Daedalus as well as BKB up. Flash's Reign of Terror might be coming soon to an end. Just because he can't compete with the Weaver or with the Wraith King. So he's going to rely on being able to pick off their backhand while Snow goes up front. That harder to ask. Looks like Death Prophet's going towards a Shiva most likely. AC also would be good, but I'd like to see the AC picked up by Wraith King just because he needs that attack speed and the armor. So Shiva's Guard, very good pickup, especially when you consider the fact that Mirana doesn't have the highest agility growth for an agi carry, so the negative 40 attack speed aura actually is fairly significant. And the fact that you've got that extra AoE nuke to throw out. Yoda getting some free farm in the bottom lane. What do you think he'll be going for as the next big pickup?
I'd almost say a blink, but not anymore. I think
Blink on Weaver.
Between getting Butterfly or
blink on Weaver.
Maybe probably a Butterfly.
Yeah, Butterfly would be a really good pickup because it means that Weaver can stand toe to toe, especially with the fact he's got lifesteal built in from the Wraith King. If he can stand toe to toe with Snow or with Flash, for a lot of damage. You see him being very cheeky right now. He knows he has time lapse, so he's just going to get some free damage over on Snow. Snow with that Daedalus picked up, he'll be most likely going for that Butterfly. He needs the evasion as well as the attack speed coming up from that to help him. Yoda's actually able to hang around on the front while they come in from behind. Flank maneuver coming out from 2IP. Yoshi instantly takes a fall. Cyclone's up the bat right, so he can't get his lasso off. Snow takes a fall to the sheer amount of damage coming out. DDY falls apart. Snow buys back. Zyki fleeing for his life with his BKB. Actually, might be able to kill the courier. Gets a courier snipe. Requiem of Souls flies out. Radiant Courier gets picked off. Flash that Malediction might actually be taking the fall. Yoda able to get a kill over on Snow with that Gemini attack. Flash just barely escaping. Zyki being cheeky. He kills off the courier, but they're going to lose a tier 2 in the bottom lane. Possibly a Rax. 85-second cooldown over on Snow. You still have Reincarnate up on Wraith King. 2IP doing the impossible. Taking apart Blink Dota. It looks like alas for Yoshi, I knew him well. Ancient Apparition, Ice Blast flies out, catches 4, great Ice Blast from him, but too little too late. Without Snow there to provide that physical DPS, you can't really choose to fight, especially when you consider the fact that there's still Reincarnate up. Yoda still has time lapse, never mind, time lapse is off cooldown, he's healing up. Actually able to kill Weave in the backline, Reincarnate popped, he instantly buybacks. Yoshi being forced off to safety, but Wraith King, he's out for blood. One more right click, smacks him in half. Yoda is fighting in the Fireflies, actually silenced up, gets killed by Flash. So buys back and then dies to a dieback coming out from Yoda. Very unfortunate, but while that's happening,
structures are fortified.
Watch your racks melt. Reincarnate's gonna be off cooldown in 30 more seconds. Mule tanks an area to the face, but he doesn't give a damn. He's got Voodoo Restoration and a Harder Taras. Wolfcart pops the BKB just so he can ensure he can get that range racked. Cyclone's up DDY to make sure he can't do any funny business. And 2 IP backing away. They know they've overstayed their welcome. Diffusal Blade picked up by Flash. Very interesting pickup considering it doesn't stack with a Desolator.
No.
I was about to say, because Ayaskadi stacks with Life Deal because it's a buff placer. But I don't know
Dire's
if
middle tower is under
other
attack.
orb abilities work
It
like
has no
that.
arms to defend itself.
I don't think it does.
It might be different in Dota 2, but I know in Dota 1, Desolator and Diffusal definitely don't
The
stack.
Radiant have carved their names in
But
history.
at any rate, Diffusal is a good
fallen.
pickup just because it gives you that purge to be the kite around Wolfcart. And once his BKB was off, you'd purge him, keep chasing him around with those 4 staffs, ensure that he can't get up close to stab you and stun you in the face. So 3 lives over in Wraith King. Would have liked to see him actually give it to Yoda, but Wolfcart, he's playing balls to the wall. He's got an Abyssal Blade up on him, so he could duke out and kill Snow if he catches him out on his own. And we're questioning the effectiveness of the support pickup since they were pretty underfarmed, but they've been making it work surprisingly well. Mechanism just finished now, so it's a 34-minute mech finish by the Venomancer. And Witch Doctor picks up a Ghost Scepter so he can stand tall in these fights. With the Malediction and the Death Ward, he's been providing a huge amount of pinpoint precision in these fights. Too easy has been ensuring that Snow, if he plays too aggressive, he's able to pin him down with the ward. Or if he doesn't focus him, he can use that ward once he gets a few more points up in it and gets the bounces coming out from that level 3 ultimate. Can deal a crap ton of damage. Still doesn't have his level 2 ultimate, but even with that level 1 ult, he's been making things work. Skywrath, Mage, and Yoshi, they have been playing very well with the fact they've got their level 2 ultimates. They have been showing them off a lot. Mystic Flare was used to finish off Yoda in that last engagement. And Yoshi with his Ice Blast have been very on point. It looks like he's going towards an Aghanim Scepter. It's still a very close game, only a 2,500 EXP lead in favor of the Radiant, and only a 5,000 gold lead. Considering the amount of buybacks that happened, it's a very negligible gold lead. It's just the fact that
The lack of purchases from Shadow Fiend for the last sort of 7 minutes is really hurting them.
yeah, definitely. He was having an absolute ball of a time when he picked up his Daedalus. He thought, okay, we could fight now. But ever since then, he's been dying a lot in these fights. He's been underestimating the power of the Death Prophet Exorcism, as well as the Death Ward coming out from Witch Doctor. So not respecting the amount of physical DPS coming out from them, as well as Yoda and Wraith King. They are hitting incredibly hard. Abyssal Blade, so a crit coming out from Wraith King's critting about 500, 600-ish. Yoda with a Gemini attack, he's consistently dealing 400, 300 to 400 DPS. Something you really don't want to deal with. So while the Venomancer hasn't been as effective as I'd like in these fights, he did enough in the early stages of the game that the rest of his team have gone off to such a good start now that it doesn't even matter if his ultimate has been nullified by the BKBs. With the wards providing reconnaissance, as well as the fact that he could always provide that Gale to lock people in place. He's been doing a lot of work. Could even be seeing a Daedalus pickup from the Weaver. It's not the best DPS pickup on him, just because Gemini attack procs the MKB True Strike, so that's one of the reasons why it's preferred over the Daedalus. But at the same time, when you're having a great lead like this, and with the lifesteal built in, a Daedalus might not be the worst pickups, and Snow's been delayed on the...
Base, what are we up to, Blink?
Yeah, Blink fighting outside their base. Zyki called out with the stun. Exorcism pop. Wolfcart's gonna be locked in place with the cold feet. Never mind, he takes a fall, but Aegis the Immortal pops. Never mind, it's reincarnate. Zyki fleeing from his side. Death Wall placed in the high ground, providing pinpoint fire support. Yoshi takes a fall. Yoda's gonna dive in time lapse. Never mind, time lapse himself to safety so he doesn't dive in Mystic Flare. Zyki caught up in the Cyclone, instantly melts. And it looks like Blink Dota gonna get 2-0'd by 2 IP and knocked into the loser's bracket. This is something I did not expect to happen.
Tower has fallen in battle.
David fells Goliath. And I don't think Blink Dota can recover from this.
Dire's top barracks are under. The sky is falling.
Yeah,
No,
that's,
wait, that's just Dire's top barracks.
Turnout. Looks like 2 IP is showing their strength.
Yeah, amazing plays coming out from 2 IP, showing off the unorthodox
Dire's middle
hero
tower
drafts
now
and hero
belongs to
builds.
the Aegis.
Really able to make them work.
Dire's
I
middle
guess
barracks
Blink have
are
gotten a
under
bit
attack.
complacent since they've won
Dire's
every
middle
other
barracks
game.
have
They've
fallen
never
in
really
the
had to
line
deal
of
with
duty.
defeat so far.
Dire's middle barracks
And
have
GG
fallen.
has been called, so Blink
Radiant
Dota
have
beaten,
Graves.
getting 2-0'd by 2 IP. None of us would have seen this coming.
Radiant victory.
It was good while it lasted. They had something like a 14-15 game win streak. But finally they take a fall.
Yeah, really well played by Snow this game. I think he just couldn't pull his team through there.